1. Intro. The Chronicle of the Acts of the Queen Consorts of Lusitania, the wives of His Hebraic Majesty, Louis II, King of Lusitania, Emperor of Timur, Prince of Israel, Prince of Judah, President of BSD. The king purchased a villa in Buza, for his concubine Maureen, a French journalist and part-time model. She resides there together with Sogyo, a Korean school teacher, her co-wife. He has a palace in southern Portugal and 2 apartments in Austria. Gina, his German lady who's a business manager, manages both properties on his behalf. And he also built a big villa, of 18 rooms, in Wosa, the north of Korea. He named the palace, his summer palace. It's mostly inhabited by homeless people who need temporary shelter, before getting their lives back in order. Maureen requested a Lolita shop from Louis, which she opened beside a sushi shop. The investment was a 50,000. It was repaid speedily. Weekly she receives at least 400 customers. Lolita has become a popular subculture among Koreans, besides cosplay and AIM. Furthermore, Japanese girls who visit Buza also shop at her place. Past 1.5 years she had around 40,000 customers and made around a 3.5 million. She hired an accountant to manage the finances. She recently persuaded 2 maids, Sogi and Yu, to live with her and Sogyo. The maids take care of the house chores and sometimes help in the shop. Yu is half Korean, half Japanese. Often she visits Kyoto to see her parents and younger brother. Sogi is still a student and benefits of accommodating in the villa. Sogi, Yu and Sogyo became close friends and they hang out frequently. Maureen often goes to Starbucks with some French women who teach French at the high schools in Buza. She also goes to the French and Italian restaurants on the weekends. She has few responsibilities at the shop because the dresses and items are delivered by Japanese companies. She only manages the resale and her employers take care of everything. Once a month she writes for a French journal. Sogyo teaches English at a private high school. She works long hours and has few friends. Her students perform well and almost all graduate with high grades for English. She lived in Australia and England for 2 years and made connections over there. Louis offered her a job opportunity in the United Kingdom, but she declined. She prefers to be among her native people. 2. Is everything taken care of? Yes, ma'am, the Korean butler responded. The invitations have been sent 2 days ago. We expect around 122 guests. I am satisfied with that. Maureen signs him to leave. She walks towards the window. The mountains around Wosa are illuminated by the summer sun. The port town is busy guiding tourists around. She sees how students and military staff is walking by from her suite. Her room is in the shadow of a tree, which cools down the windows. It has been a while since she was here. Most of the time she's either in Buza or with her best friend Marie in France. Marie visited her 2 months back in Korea. They had fun as always and their selfies were many. Maureen hopes she can come this time too. She also invited a few former classmates from high school. She hasn't seen them in years. She sometimes speaks with them on Facebook or on her Lolita page. She walks towards her desk. Picks up her notebook. She goes through her notes. There is the number of Sogayag. She would look after her shop while she was gone. Song. It's me. I know, dear. I recognize your French accent. Maureen blushes. Well, how is the shop? You have a lot of costumers, as usual. There are no problems here. Do you like to come? Come to what? My party. Great. I will. She talks to one of the maids in Korean off the phone. I will take the plane to Wosa right away. 3. After hanging up the phone, she receives a message in her Facebook inbox. It's Louis. Beauty. What are you doing? I just finished talking to Sogyog. She's on her way to the north. From Buzzer. Yes. What are you two up to? She too stay here for my party. I've invited many people from France and Seoul. That's good. Just remember to hire as much security guards as possible. I don't want any incidents over there. Where are you now? Iagata, Japan. I have a meeting with the CEO soon. We'll make a treaty. About what? Exchange in public services. Portuguese and Caribbean officials in exchange for Japanese railway constructors. Me and a Japanologist want to construct a railway in South America. In the Guyana area. And besides that, we also want to construct some trams and metros over there too. Did you receive the permit of those countries? We did, after paying some sum of euros, of course. As always. Look, the meeting will be over very soon. If this guy agrees, then the construction will begin within 2 weeks. Your party will be within 3 days, right? It's next week. Still 8 days. Ah. Louis sends some photos of Iagata. Look. I'll pass by after the meeting. So. I'll see you later today. Bring some sake for me, we ran out of it here. I will. Louis goes offline. She puts some music on. Very loud. There's no issue in that. She, besides the cleaners, the butler and some security guards, are the only ones in the palace anyway. She often listens to her music loud. Back in France, in her teenage years, her parents would bang on her door to make her lower the volume of her speakers. She didn't have much luxury. Her environment was relatively poor. Often she sold her modeling outfits to have some money. And fortunately, there was always a buyer and nobody ever tried to cheat on her. 4. Maureen decided to remove her party location to Japan. She is more attached to Japan than that she is to Korea. She rents one of the tourist fortresses in Ara for 3 full days. The price is only a 60,000. She also sends new invitations to all that were invited. That same afternoon, after transferring the payment online, she flies towards Osaka. She also informed Louis about it. He agreed to meet her at Shinomamiya station of the Osaka Loop line. The flight from Koma Airport, Wosa, to Keisa Airport, Osaka, only took 72 minutes. After landing, she is not obliged to walk through the gate for foreigners. A couple of years back she managed to get a Japanese passport with the help of a French friend of hers who became a naturalized Japanese citizen. Her Japanese is also sufficient enough to convince the customs that she's partly Japanese. That other friend of hers is Justy. Justy was born in Toulouse and she's an alumni history and a high school teacher. She is already living in Japan for 7 years. She lives in Tokyo, in a French neighborhood. After passing the customs she bought a ticket for the showcase to Osaka Station. The trip lasted for about 25 minutes. She enjoyed the landscape a lot. She sat at the window. There was a Japanese woman next to her who fell asleep in the ride. This often happens in Japan. She took the train to Osaka Station after buying a bento. In Osaka Station she transferred to the Loon Line and got out at Shinomiya Station. There she bought some soda in the convenience store across the street. The block has many hotels of good quality. She stayed here before a couple of years back. She was glad to see the place again. It was just after shorter than an hour that Louis arrived. 5. Maureen wears black /white heels, skin-colored nylon, and a short black and white Lolita dress. Also she decorated herself with 2 necklaces, 1 ring, and a sunglasses. She carries a purse with her passport and other documents in it. She also took 1.5 million yen from the ATM at the airport. Louis is wearing a blue sunglasses, a straw hat from Spain, a colbert and black jeans, a silver belt and black shoes. He carries a bag on his back with his tablet and laptop in it, accompanied by several business contracts. Where are we heading? Ara Station. And after we arrived, we to take a taxi to the address. I got in my purse. Good. He pinches her left cheek. Are you all right? I am fine. Did your business deal went well? They signed the contracts. So the sales are through. Good. We need to get inside now. The train will arrive within a few minutes. They get into a seat in the front of the train. So they have a view also in front of them, where the train driver is seated. The train is quite empty. The Japanese look quite occupied. Most of them are dived into their smartphones. Besides them are a few youth sitting. Behind them some elderly. The sun is shining and it's like a warm summer day. The train ride is relaxing. She enjoys the sight outside. Did you tell Justy about your plan? Not yet. I'll tell here when it's certain. It takes like 1 hour from Tokyo to come here. But you will still have to transfer 2 times. So, it will take around 90 minutes for her. True. True. I totally forgot about the transfer. It might be better if the Japanese railways would improve their connection to smaller towns. Ara is a very popular town. So is Kyoto. But Kyoto has no subway nor tram. They have buses. It also takes a while to travel by bus. And never forget, there are also many bus accidents recently. I heard about that one. So, I prefer using the railways. Junior has one of the safest railways in the world. Safer than Korea's KTX railways. True indeed. Also, the timing is quite long in Korea. KTX surely needs improvement. Anyway, we are in Japan now. We have around 5 stops before we arrive in Ara Station. Louis picks his Samsung phone. It might rain later today. Oh dear. I didn't thought about it. I too buy an umbrella in a 7-Eleven store. Fine. She picks out a 100.000 yen cash from her purse. Here you go. Not needed. I'll pay with my credit card. Louis becomes curious. Why did you bring so much money with you? Just in case. In case of what? In case I need to bribe some people. 6. After they arrived at our station, they went to a French restaurant on the station itself. While she ate, Louis went around to arrange a taxi. This gave her enough time to charge one of her phones and her digital camera. It's settled. I gave them the address. The ride will take about 10 minutes. Good. She finished her tea. Then we will be finished soon. Finish your dessert. Yes, dear. While leaving the station, she makes some photographs of the environment. She always enjoys making holiday photos. There are deers around here. Louis reminds her they go around freely here. You're warned. I'm a lover of nature, remember? I know. He smiles. Just don't be scared when they just show up. I would like to have a photo shoot in one of those Buddhist temples. Why not? Just check some Japanese photographers and hire them. I was thinking about inviting some of my friends from France over here. Do it. Money is no issue. You know it. That's why I'm replacing my party to one of those wooden castles. We will talk it out with the mayor or the municipality if they consider this offensive. Yeah. I mean, those castles are Japan's cultural and historical heritage. Maybe some might object. It will only be a gathering on invitation. So most people wouldn't even notice it's going on. And those parks aren't always open to the public either. I've researched it. Begin making your phone calls. The taxi is arriving. Inside the cab, Louis answers some messages on his smartphone while she is calling some folks in France. It's still early in the morning over there. She kind of overwhelmed them. Several photographers were willingly to take a trip to Japan. She transferred the money into their accounts. They will arrive within 2 days at Kayseri Airport. There has been some serious flight delays from Air France past week due to false bomb threats. Since the Paris attacks on Friday the 13th, 2015, many Parisians become more and more xenophobic towards the non-French. Also, the state of emergency was extended several times after President Hollande's decision. Not only that, also the screening of French citizens intensified. Nevertheless, the French are glad with the police state that has been formed without them noticing it. They feel safer. But if they are truly safe, is another question. Most enemies come from your own household. This is something Louis experienced over and over again in his lifetime. That's also something he is teaching his 2 daughters. Never make conclusions just based on feelings. Feelings can be deceptive. Sogyog agrees with his method. Their daughters perform well in school and they are socially fluent. 7. After they arrived, the Empress played with some of the deers. They agreed with the managers that the temple complex will be rented out for 3 days for Maureen's fest, on the condition that several security guards from the city will guard around the property. The price was 800,000 yen, which she paid cash. Louis took advantage of the situation by informing about cultural projects. He managed to get a deal quickly, which would benefit the treasury of his household. He has the blessing of getting things done that normally and formally wouldn't ever happen. His here extended villas are one of them. The costs of building the Portuguese one was less than €25,000, normally it should have been around €4 million. Importing cheap building materials and hiring refugees as builders was quite beneficial. It was finished within 12 days. Similar stories with his Korean villas. The 2 apartments in Austria were given to him because nobody wanted them and the real estate corporation sold them for less than €10. His cafes and hostels in Portugal, Spain, Brazil and Korea also function well and they provide employment for around 125 people. He intended to buy a farm in Kyushu for his children, so that they would live a much more natural life. While you're having your party over here for 3 days, next week, I'll be purchasing a farmland in Kyushu. How large? With few acres. I mean, it has a farmhouse, a large barn, a large plot of land and a large plot of field with grass near a small stream. Sounds sweet. It is. And I might give away that villa in Portugal. Why that? Because it's mostly occupied now by sojourners. Leave it that way. At least now sojourners have a safe place to go when their budget is low. When you hand over the property to someone else, you will have no supervision upon what they will do with the property. You got a point there. And besides, now you can always land in Portugal without having to bother with hotels or hostels. That also. And when the farm is purchased I'll move over there. Sogiog may remain with the Buzzer Villa. That's fine. If you want bring some French folks over too. All right. I will build a small house on the grass field for the kids. That part will be only for them. Is the farm close to town? Fukuoka is about an half hour away by road. And within 10 kilometers distance there's a railway station also. Fukuoka. Such a lovely city. The first time I visited Japan I arrived at Fukuoka. The Wi-Fi connection was excellent. My Japanese was not that great yet but I and my travel mate managed to get around town. 8. The next morning Louis picks the first showcase train in Osaka towards Fukuoka and Maureen joins him because her French friends will arrive after 39 hours. The ride towards Fukuoka didn't take long. Weird enough, their train unit was empty throughout the ride. This is not normal for a busy region as the Keisei region. When they arrived at Hiroshima, there was a news message on the Japanese radio concerning a terrorist attack in the south of France, in Toulouse. 28 people were decapitated by a group of mobs, 112 injured by suicide bombers and 59 others were killed by the attacks. Louis. What's wrong? Why are you so frightened? Check the news. Of France. All right, he grabs his iPad. Which one? Allow me. She grabs the iPad from his hands and opens the website of the French media here. Oh dear. Another attack. Yuha. 87 people dead. Around 110 injured. Some of the attackers are on the loose. It happened 12 hours ago. So it's still fresh. I am not certain if my friends will still come. Why not? Last time something like this happened there were a lot of useless violations of French citizens' privacy by the state. This time more will happen. I expect it. Don't he make too fast conclusions yet. We will go ahead to Fukuoka to purchase the land. After that, you can contact your people to see where they're at. Good. By the way, expect a response in Japan too. Concerning this. How? Japan is also targeted by those terrorists. Remember? True. So some of those nuts in this country might be triggered to act out too. Oh dear. Fear not. We are safe now. Right. He shuts down his iPad. Take some wine. She receives the wine from his pocket. We will be there within 40 minutes. If they can't come, then I need to cancel the reservation of the Buddhist castle. Maybe not. He drinks a bit of his white wine. You can still have your feast. This one over here. And next week one in France. That's a lot of effort. Why not? You have Korean and Japanese friends, right? You also have a well-known Lolita shop in Buza that many Japanese tourists visit. Don't you? So, why not invite more people? I can do that. Of course. Do it. And you're not certain what the heck is going on there in France? Don't fret about it. Only bad will come from that. I am not fretting. Number. You're only repeating the same upset emotions about a future outcome that never happened and of whom you don't have the certainty that the outcome would ever happen. Let it go. How much will it cost? What? The farm. Maybe between €500,000 and €2 million. That's a lot of money. Probably it will be less than €800,000. Many farmers want to sell their farms at a cheap price in order to move to the big cities. The population of Japan is aging. More and more people belong to the elderly class. And there are few young people to live on the land. Because most prefer the busy lifestyle of the cities. Obviously. So, now you can purchase rural homes much easier. Wise. 9. Lewis traveled to the farm with a taxi. She also joined him. The farm was in a good state and the plot of land was much larger than he expected. The owners were an elderly couple in their 80s. They wanted to move to Osaka to live with their children and grandchildren. They were not permitted to freely give away to property. So they offered Lewis to buy the property for 1,000 yen only. He agreed, and he was quite surprised by the cheap price. After signing the papers, Lewis went to the municipal house of the prefecture to register the change. This all was done within 5 hours. At this time, Maureen didn't receive any news from his friends yet. On the news it was announced that the airports of France were closed for an undetermined season by order of the President and the Parliament. Also, the French army now was in practical control of the country because martial law was enforced. This implies that the constitution is set aside due to a state of emergency. Did you hear anything from Gina? Number. I didn't. She is now on a weekend away with friends to Norway. Well, at least she's far away from the horror over there. Contact your parents and see how they are. While she's doing that, Lewis informed Sogiog about the new farm and he urges to travel to Fukuoka as soon as possible with the kids. Mum and Dad are fine. Also the rest of the family. There are soldiers arresting a lot of people on the streets. And there are many riots going on in Paris, Nantes and Lyon. They don't even feel safe in their own country anymore. Do you want to pick them up? All of them? Well, I can just hire some private pilots and they will transport them from France to Estonia. From there they can easily travel over there. That's a fine idea. But don't you think it's a bit early for that? I mean, the whole country is now in panic. And folks tend to make wrong conclusions when they are in panic. Keep calling them. Every day. Once we find the solution we will act upon it. When will the kids and song arrive? Tomorrow. Around 11 a.m. at Fukuoka Airport. Does the farm have electricity? Of course. And it's also in use now. Then let's remain on the farm. You're sure? Yes. Good. Then we will need to cancel the hotel in Ara. I will do that. Don't worry about it. What about your party? I too invite people via Facebook. They will come. Meanwhile, I can work on the farm a bit. Why not hire some employers? Why not? True. His phone rings. Hold on. Hello. Yes, that's me. Ah. That's great. Great news. Thank you. You seem joyful. I have boundless joy. Joy without any end. Ha ha, she laughs out loud, more boundless excitement. Well, begin sending your Facebook invitations. I'll be there in Ara 2 during your fest. Boundless joy.